So welcome everyone to this live stream with Design for Freedom, and let's maybe we can already get started. It's we're 1 minute into the scheduled call. So yeah, let's just start. So this live stream is really about just to explain what is the productized designer is, and we're gonna look at what we think designers can do and should do if they want to productize their skills online. Then I'm going to give a quick brief overview of our journey, how did we get here, explain some basic concepts, and then show kind of like a timeline of what our 6 weeks program looks like. And then as a final thing, I will show some pages on the community and show some progress of what we have been building so far. And then if there are any questions, the last half an hour of the live stream will be dedicated to that. Okay. So what are we gonna cover today? We're gonna, as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna see how designers can monetize their experience and look at our 6-week program, and then give a brief overview of the community platform, and then jump to Q&A. So just maybe to say, this looks like we're clearly have clear sections in this presentation, but it's going to be more fluid, and I'm going to be talking what really productized service design really is. And yeah, just going through the different things. If ever you're interested, we actually this week we finished and published our guide, The Productized Designer. It was written by Alan, the co-founder, and it's a very good guide. What will walk you through and explain some basic concepts of how can you productize your service, your design service, and it's basically the meat and the marrow of this presentation as well. I will include a link at the end of this live stream, so you can go ahead and download it. This is just fresh off the press, so to speak. So we just published it a few days ago. Cool. So maybe let's take a step back, and I can explain a little bit about our story and how did this come about. So as I said, we are two people. I'm Eliud, and we co-founded this business together with Alan Pereira. And so basically our story goes back about 2.5 years ago. We started working together, and at some point we started discussing of starting our own business, side business. And we thought, yeah, it's easy as becoming a content creator, and then you start posting, and then the clients will magically appear, and you will start having a business, and it's going to be all good and great. So we started off with a YouTube channel. We did some other initiatives along the way. It was a lot of trial and error, and after about 2 years of experimenting with different things, but very much going strong on the content creation part, we started seeing a pattern, and that was that a lot of designers, they don't know how to sell themselves, how to monetize their skills. And a lot of designers go into this. I know a lot of people, and I've done the same pattern, kind of, that they start employment, they study, they start employment, and then at some point they would like to start freelancing, and then everybody goes into freelancing. And freelancing per se is kind of, it's a bit outdated in the way we approach it today, and it's bound to not work out. So we started noticing some patterns late last year with Alan, and we were doing some consulting also for businesses, helping them with the user experience problems, and uncovering some hidden problems that are holding users back from actually using their products, and basically improving their churn and retention rates. But then we decided this is a not bigger problem, and something that worth tackling. So we changed direction, we changed tact, and then earlier this year we started working fully dedicated, 100% focused on just creating and launching this program, which is now today we call Design for Freedom. And it's we're now going to launch the second cohort. So the first cohort is we're wrapping it up with the people we have in that program. And yeah, so this is basically a little bit of the backstory. Cool. So as I said, freelancing is kind of broken. So this is where for us it's really all started out. And as I said, everybody starts with freelancing at some point, and it feels like freedom, but it's really not. And clients are inconsistent, income kind of resets monthly, and you are kind of employed. You really have to work very hard, but you don't have the luxuries and the benefits of having the employment of a real job, of being employed at a company. And what we're arguing instead of freelancing is a productized service, which is scalable and it's a repeatable income. So we have this graph. For us, this is fundamental just to understand the difference and the basics of between freelancing and productized service. Now, this graph looks complex, or maybe not, but quickly just to explain. So on the horizontal axis, you have the customer base. And on the vertical axis, you have the average revenue per user. So at the beginning, you're selling to one client, which is if you're employed, then you have an employer, and that person or that entity is your client, kind of. So just to say here that everyone done sales before, because you sold yourself into a job. So you got a job, now you have one customer. If we go further down the horizontal axis, after full-time employment, what people normally do is either they decide to go into freelancing, or they start their own B2B or B2C startups. So basically building a product, whatever digital product that is, and try to do that. The problem with the B2C or B2C product is that you're competing against some already established startups that have millions in funding, or you're competing against a team that is like fully dedicated. They work 10, 12 hours a day. So it's gonna be hard. Okay, so starting your own startup is gonna be hard. Going into freelancing is gonna be equally hard because, as I said, it's gonna be inconsistent client flow. Most designers, and this is the big issue, is they're relying on word of mouth. So there's no really any system to do a structured system for lead generation. And this is where a lot of freelancers they just suffocate. So when you go into freelancing, if you're still looking at the horizontal axis, you're gonna sell between 1 to 10 clients or something like that at any given time, and you're gonna have different services and different products. It's not streamlined, and every time it's a little bit tailored to the needs. And then if you go into B2C or B2C startups, you're gonna have to have a customer base, thousands of people or more. Think Airbnb or these big platforms where they make not so much money per user, but it's basically the critical mass that gives them the millions or hundreds of millions of income that they have today. And then at the very far right of this horizontal section, you have the social media giants, which they have billions of users, so per user they can make a lot of money. So as I said, people they go from full-time employment to freelancing or having their own startup, which are both hard. Another really hard thing is, and we have fell into this trap with Alan, is that we did what they call an info product. So if you go on LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever, you will see these creators, and they will push the narrative that only if you keep posting consistently, you will get a lot of followers, after a year or two or whatever, and finally you can sell to them, which is a big lie because you don't need any of that. But what they're also pushing is that it's okay. You can sell like cheap courses or ebooks or whatever, and that's gonna bring you money. But actually, we did do this last year. We wrote a book together with Alan, and we started selling that. And honestly, we sold a handful of books. The problem with having info products, which is here that I'm pointing out with my mouse, is that you need a big customer base to actually make any meaningful income on that investment. So if you're selling an info product, whether that's a training course, an ebook, a graphic kit, or whatever it is, let's say you sell it for $150, but you need about 1,000 people to buy that product from you, so you can make an income that is actually gonna make some change in your life. You can actually quit your job or think about leaving or things like that, because otherwise it's not gonna be sustainable. But to sell 1,000 of those products, you need a big audience. So the bigger your audience, the easier it will get. But that takes time, a lot of effort, and it's just not cut out for everyone. Not everybody wants to be a content creator, and that's perfectly fine. So what our program will teach and is teaching designers is that they start a productized service, which is here, just on the freelancing. And that's easy because, as you will see later in this presentation, you will have to focus on one problem, one positioning, and one clear offer. So once you nail these three, and you need to niche down, you need to be very specific the type of audience you're directing this message towards. And if you niche down, you only need to have between 5 to 10 clients a month. But the trick here is that you're selling a product that is streamlined, that is always more or less the same with small variations here and there. You're selling the same product at a high price. So you're starting at 1,500 or 2,000. If you have 5-6 clients a month, you sell to those, and you're making $10,000-$12,000 a month. And it's easier to do this than to go into selling info products or building your own startup or even freelancing. And it's more predictable, and things are just kind of rolling a lot better. So the old ways of doing freelancing is that you're very likely that you're going to be wasting time on bureaucracy. Sometimes you won't know how to charge. You have very personalized business proposals, so you can change from one client to another the type of service you're delivering, or you kind of do a one size fits all, and then you have to also negotiate with some clients. It's not put here, but it's just inconsistent lead flow and so on. And the new way of doing things is that you productize your service. So you have a very specific skill that you want to sell. You find your target audience, you find the right positioning, you productize it, you package it into a product. You can run it as a side business, as full-time. Depends. We have some clients who are actually building out their productized service full-time, and we have a client who's doing this part-time next to her full-time job. Another key thing is that you're focusing on automating as many things as possible. And you have a value-based pricing, which we get to in a minute. You have, as I said, you have a unique offer, one problem solved for one ICP. So ICP is ideal customer profile. And you basically, based on this, it's very repeatable, and to a point where it's, every week, every day, you kind of need to do the same things, the same lead generation approach. So, but this down the road will guarantee you that the things you do now will actually guarantee a consistent lead flow weeks or months from now. So the main, let's say, mind shift in doing a productized service is that in freelancing, you sell your time. You sell, I don't know, for X amount of hours that you work for company Y, you get paid $100 per hour or whatever. And you exchange your time in exchange for money. But with a productized service, the mind shift is that you're selling outcomes and not time. So you charge a flat price, premium price, but the outcome is basically about you helping them to reduce churn by 20%. And whether that takes you 1 day, 3 days, or whatever amount of time, that is what the client would pay you. They want to have the outcome, the result, and not you. They don't care how many hours it will take you. If it's a flat price, if it's a premium price. In that premium price, you promise that I will help you reduce your acquisition problems or whatever. And then that's the value, that's that one service that you're delivering. So the benefits of this is that you have a fixed pricing, you have a predictable process, and a scalable result. So you want to have repeatable, high value offers, as I said. If we talk about building a business in general, usually the two things that will, if you're working, as a business to business, or often is even business to customer, the two things that people will be interested, like, yes, they want an answer or a tool for their problem, whatever their problem is. But fundamentally, it's really about whether you're making or saving money to people. So if you have another business or someone who will, I don't know, tell you, you approach that company and say, hey, I can make you $10,000 if you pay me $2,000. That's like a value offering they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, take my money and then let's go. Or you're gonna be like, oh, I can see that you're losing a lot of money here in this part of your user experience flow. I can save you $8,000 if you pay me $2,000. Again, it's a no-brainer. I'd rather pay someone $2,000 than be constantly keep losing $8,000 a month. So sometimes this save money is also called money on discount. You're basically saving someone some money, and they pay you in exchange for that. And so here, with this thing, you need to focus on problems and not design deliverables. Again, very clear definition between freelancing and productized service. Focus on problems and not the design deliverables. Clients don't buy logos or whatever graphic package. They want to buy trust and conversion. They're focused on what can you do for them, what can you help them to solve their business problems. What costly problems I have solved, where do businesses lose money from bad design, for example. So selling. So another hallmark of freelancing is that, at least the designers I know and the designers I've been talking to, and in general, like the experiences we had with Alan, with talking to a lot of people, is that designers, and me including, we just don't know how to sell, right? We're afraid of this. It feels that this icky stuff, it just feels weird and awkward to approach people to sell them our product or whatever it is. So you've got a clear offer, you know exactly what problems you're solving, how you solve it, and why it's valuable. But the most difficult part is selling. So here's the reality, actually. If you don't know how to sell, you don't have a business, in fact. And for a long time, I just refused to accept this because I have a product background. So I've actually had a retail company just before COVID hit, and COVID kind of resolved that, and we needed to close it. But there I really started understanding that you need to be doing sales because clients won't just magically disappear. So if you don't know how to sell, you basically are running a hobby. And the good news is selling doesn't have to feel like selling. If it's done right, it's just a conversation on both sides where you're trying to understand what the problem is, your potential customer, and how that problem fits into what you're offering. No pressure, just positioning your offer in front of the right people and making it easy for them to say yes. So you are not selling, you are actually helping. You are helping people to solve their problems for them. So these three things are basically the hallmark of what it means to create a productized business. Most designers, they waste months perfecting an offer no one really buys. They tweak their pricing, refine their messaging, build a beautiful landing page, and then usually it's followed by silence. So it's not because they aren't good at what they do, it's because they skip the most important step, in fact, validating the demand before building anything. So validation isn't about guessing, it's about proving before you launch that clients are actually willing to pay for your service. And it's about removing the risk of failure before investing time into something that might not work. So the goal is quite simple. You have to get clients before you build a service. Or if you already have a service, this is something that you already done, you can skip it, but you can sell something before it actually exists. And I've been chatting with some designers who actually started like that. They put something out there, they put some ideas down, and they start looking, probing to see if there's any demand for this. So the fastest way you can validate your offer is you don't actually need a website. You don't need branding. You don't need even a polished sales base. What you really need is you need to have a one sentence pitch. For example, a bad one sentence pitch would be, I help startups with UX. Okay, it's as generic as it can be. But a better one would be, I help SaaS startups increase conversions by fixing their onboarding experience, or increasing conversions by 15% by fixing their onboarding experience, or even more niche, like down to the industry, like medtech or even geography. You're helping startups in Germany or whatever. So the more niche you are, the more you are speaking their language. So if you're trying to speak to everybody, you're not gonna be speaking to anyone. You're just gonna be another noise out there. They're not gonna have a compelling reason why they should work with you. Okay, so the more specific results you in your pitches, the easier it would be also to validate it. Then, second step is you have to share it with potential clients. The key here is you shouldn't ask for feedback. Ask if they're interested, instead of, what do you think? Do you think if this is a good idea? And so, for example, instead of saying this, you might say, I'm launching a new service that helps SaaS founders fix onboarding drop-offs. Want me to have a look at yours? And this is something that, at the very least, will open a discussion. Again, you're seeing if they're interested. Everybody will tell you, if you ask for feedback, this is nice, or this is whatever. Because especially if it's someone who knows you personally, because they don't want to, they want to be nice. And times like this, being nice is actually just the worst thing that can happen. So, and then the third step is you need to offer a low friction commitment. The best validation is payment, of course. So if there's someone who is willing to pay you already, well, that's like excellent. But if you're testing demand, any sign of commitment works. So how to measure real interest? So for example, if people say, let's jump on a call, it means you kind of want to something. Or if people say, I want this, send me the details, you really found a real problem. If people prepay or sign up for a better version, like, you've really validated your offer. So basically, you need to sum up again. Write a one sentence pitch, sell it with ideal customers, and offer a low friction commitment. And then go from there. So, but what you're striving towards is to get one problem, one offer, and one ideal customer to be identified in this discovery phase of your productized service building. So Another thing that we talk about in the book that I just mentioned earlier in this guide is that growth or scale. So growth actually takes more effort. The difference between growth and scale is that growth means doing more of what already works, more sales calls, more outreach, more work. It's kind of linear. If you don't keep pushing, the revenue will eventually drop. But scaling means building systems that work without you, or at least some systems that work without you. So here we're talking about automation, streamlining service delivery, and expanding revenue without the extra work. So if you're still selling your time, you're in kind of growth mode. If your income keeps coming even when you take a break, you moved into scale mode. Then that's another hallmark of productized service offering, is that a lot of people, if they do it right, and I know quite a few creators and so on, who are in scale mode because even when they go on holiday, they're still like make money, and it's not like freelancing when you're just going from one burnout to another, and when you take a longer break, there's a dip in your revenue. Here, there's actually ways to continue this. And these are things that we actually teach in our program. So not retention here. So basically productized services, retention equals predictable income. So once you have a productized service, you go, you have to find clients, obviously, and you constantly need to generate leads. And this is again another section in our training program. We put a big emphasis on how to do lead generation, which is for us is basically LinkedIn. LinkedIn is our go-to platform when you do lead generation. And once you start doing that, you keep having clients. But of course, you want to keep these clients, right? You don't just want to have a productized service and then they buy from you and whoops, off they go. You want to pull them back into the loop. So here you can offer ongoing support like subscriptions to this or that kind of stuff. I don't know, have a private closed community, or have a monthly newsletter where you send out. Actually, I know some creators who do a newsletter where they send out a monthly or fortnightly newsletter, and you have to pay $10 for something or something like that to be on their newsletter. But every newsletter they send out it's packed with value and a lot of different resources and templates. So you can offer ongoing support through subscription. You can upsell. So I actually have a creator and who's also running a productized service, and he does the same. So he has a base price of £1,750. That's his productized service. But then he has little add-ons. So if you need this or that, we can talk about it. He adds on things, and it can expand his income as well, and as well deliver more value to the client. What's really important is that the base price, the base offering is always the same. It's always being repeated. Even the add-ons are kind of the same. And this guy does website audits for companies. So he's going to help people. He's helping clients basically improve their messaging to improve their conversion rates. And then finally, the third one is you want to stay on top of the mind with value and check-ins. And what we mean by that is basically you need to be. So LinkedIn is a networking platform. It's not like you just go to LinkedIn and you start hard cold pitching to people and offering your service and trying to make a sale. That's awkward because you have to think LinkedIn is, if LinkedIn would be in real life, it's basically 1 billion people at this massive convention. And you have, out of that 1 billion people, which is basically the user base of the platform, you have, I don't know how many percent, 0. whatever percent as your ideal customer. And you walk up to those people and you start engaging in a chit chat, in a small talk and so on. But the purpose of it is to build trust and to build a relationship. LinkedIn is a networking platform. Just like in real life, you don't walk up to people, start selling. You first get to know the person. And once you have a relationship, and even if that person becomes a client or not, because they decide not to buy from you now, but you want to continue the conversation. And yes, it is an extra effort. Yes, it's time consuming, but the conversations you start now will turn into clients in 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now. So this is one very important way to generate a consistent lead flow, not by, crossing your arms across your chest and waiting for clients to magically appear, or waiting or relying on word of mouth, which is a quick way to going broke, basically. So it's consistently following up with people through the DMs, through the direct messages on LinkedIn. And by doing this will guarantee a lead for your building rapport, your building relationship. And by the way, just as a side note, before I forget, I just want to mention, as a base rule, the longer you can delay asking for, the longer you can delay trying to sell or trying to pitch your offer, the more the bigger the likelihood it is that they're actually going to buy from you. Because what happens during this time is you're building trust. So during those weeks, months, and so on, individually with every single person, you're building trust. And the longer time, it's like building a friendship with anyone. The longer you spend, the more time you spend together, the more trust you will have in each other. And eventually, when the opportunity presents itself and there's really this need and that they need this problem to cover, then you can sell your offer. And by the way, no, you don't need to be posting consistently on LinkedIn. You don't need to be a creator, a content creator like Alan and myself. You can create a productized business without having to do any of that. So the magic happens in the direct messaging system on LinkedIn, right? And just providing value in there. And there are some other tactics and strategies. Actually, we have a client in our program right now who's working in a medical field. She's not a medical person herself, but she's doing research, UX research, and she doesn't want to post at all. And she's basically finding her clients in the shadows. Like she's on LinkedIn, looking at stuff, but not liking, not active. But she's finding clients because she's direct messaging people. And there are many, many people like this I have met and chatted with along these past few months who have been just, you wouldn't even think that they have that they're making money off of LinkedIn, but they're actually making a lot of money. And if you look at their profiles, like they're not active at all. So you don't see. Actually, there's a guy I recently been in a call with. He's very niche. He has a service, a productized service in Germany, only for German clients. Everything is in German. Her profile on LinkedIn is in German, and he's basically helping designers to, I think, to improve their UX research methods. I think that's his product. And there's so much high, he's because he's so niched, there's so much high demand that he booked between beginning of January to end of February, he booked about 120 calls. Like, he's booking so many calls, he doesn't have enough time to jump on those calls, on those sales calls. And he had to increase his offer from, I think the base price was 2,500 euros to what it is now, to 4,500 euros, because it's simply, so that's another hallmark of when you're scaling, is like you're booking more and more calls, and instead of converting your hours, your time into, you're investing more and more time of your time, you're increasing the price, and you're offering the same package, but you're increasing the price because there's a demand for it. And this is what he did. So yeah, freelancing does not equal freedom, as a conclusion. So just to wrap up this presentation, so the first bit of this live stream. So you want to solve real problems, deliver real outcomes. You want to systematize your services, and you want to start before you're ready. A lot of people are making this mistake, and I've done this in my life before as well. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to come. There isn't anything as perfect moment. There's never gonna be a perfect moment. So you just want to start it, and then you go along and you learn a whole lot, and then you realize even if you would have been preparing, you would still have not been ready for it. Cool. So a quick overview. I just want to jump into Figma quickly and maybe show you our how does our 6 weeks program look like. Just give me a sec. I just managed to close it, I think. Yeah. And yes, bear with me for a minute. Yes, I think this one. Yeah, it's here. I'm just gonna exit from full screen here. Can I do that? Yeah. And pull this one here. So a quick overview, and then after that, basically, we can go into the Q&A. But our 6-week program looks a bit like that. So we for each training, for each cohort, we have it's 2 weeks, 2, 2, 2. So in the first 2 weeks, it's what we call discovery phase. We're going to be doing self-assessment, problem assumptions, and talking to ideal customer profile. So this is something that you need to figure out who's your ideal customer. We help you with that. We help you with the approach. We have weekly group calls and so on. But it is something that you know, like with any, I've done trainings and I've done coaching, and I met people who had this idea that if I just sign up to this, I'm going to be successful after, even if I don't do anything. So if you don't do nothing, nothing will happen. And actually, that's one of the accountability. So when you sign up, you have to commit that you're actually going to commit at least 10 hours a week or more on building this business. Building a business takes time. It's just like raising a child. It takes a lot of your energy, time, effort. But if you're not willing to commit, you know, nothing's going to happen, and no one's going to build the business for you. So just to return, so in the first 2 weeks, you're going to be discovering who is your ideal customer is. Maybe you already know, maybe you have already a mature business or you started out. That's great. I'm just talking from the point of view of someone who's who just came in and had no idea what they really want to focus on. Then we're going to define your problem and that 1-1-1. So basically, in the first 2 weeks, our goal is to have one clear offer, one clear ideal client profile, and one positioner. So basically niching down and have one offer, one client, one positioning for that for your productized service. Then we're going to help you draft your offer and hopefully start getting you to book calls. And in the second pillar of the program is you're going to have the setup, which is helping you with positioning, your business model, pricing strategy, closer kit. So basically, how can you close clients, and getting you to get testimonials and getting you to get social proof. So in the first discovery phase, what we're also focusing heavily on is teaching you how to have effective conversations in the direct messaging system on LinkedIn. So a lot of people, you can have conversations on LinkedIn, but you're not there to have pleasantries and so on. Yes, you want to go and connect at a personal, deeper level with people, but your goal is always to drive towards understanding your customer, understanding the problem. So that's kind of, you're very purposeful in which you're building a relationship on LinkedIn, and you're very purposeful in having these direct messaging conversations, direct messages with people. And there's a whole big module on that, on some rules, and there's actually workshops where I'm going through my DMs and I'm direct messaging people, where I'm showing like what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and so on. So this is kind of the foundation. Your lead generation will come from actually having conversations with people on the platform. Then as a last pillar, you have scale, where we're gonna show you and teach you how to automate processes, how to onboard customers. Flywheel is basically, as I was talking to you earlier, you have a productized service, and how can you upsell and provide additional services that again are repeatable and so on. So this is giving more value to your customers in exchange for additional upgrades. How to build a lead magnet. A lead magnet is basically how can you get customers, how to have a bigger pool of customers. It's another way to do lead generation, but it's just a different way you approach it. And then next steps. Next steps in this case is after you finish our 6-month program, you're gonna be part of this community platform which we are building. We're currently several people on it. And this community platform is basically about supporting and helping each other and being there for each other, because a lot of the people, they already know the details, they know the theory behind it. Maybe they start building a business, but building a business, especially a solo business, is just it's hard because it gets very lonely. There's a lot of challenges. And we noticed with Alan and also me and my career is like, any business I started, I always had at least 1 or 2 other co-founders, because going it alone is hard. So the biggest pain for designers is, once starting a business is easy, anybody can do that, but building a sustainable business, that's it where it gets hard. So, and that's where a lot of designers, we notice, they just wanted help. They need help because it's easier to go alone, go at it together than going out at it alone, right? Cool. So last bit, I'm just gonna pull in this final window here, and this is just to give you a quick overview of our platform, and then it's basically done. So this is basically our community platform at the moment. We're building it out as we go, but we have in the main navigation here, we have home. It's basically, this is where you see your feed, the different things that have been posted. And by the way, anybody can post to the feed. It's basically like a close community on LinkedIn, but it's off of LinkedIn. You have private messaging systems. You can message some of the colleagues. The idea is that we want to foster where people build up relationship between them. So you can have group messagings and different things. You have the feed, which is basically what's going on. Then you have the classroom with the theoretical stuff. So as I was saying, discovery, setup, and scale. We do have a get started. It's like basics, you like sanitizing what you need to have covered, like profile optimization on LinkedIn and other things. And then events. So we're going to be having weekly events, weekly group calls with participants. There's this live stream happening now, as you can see. And there's going to be another live stream in 2 weeks as well. And yeah, on the home, as I was saying, so there's a lot of things that we can go through, but in general, like within the community, as I said, what we want to foster where people feel safe, supported. So we're having all kinds of channels where people can introduce themselves, where they can talk about what were their wins, what were their successes at the moment, and every 6 to 8 weeks, we're planning a community, a new product drop. So a product drop is a new, like for example, what we launched earlier, this guidebook here. I actually added it here onto the side. So this is a new product drop, and the community will always get access first to any product. And sometimes the community will not, the people in the community will get access only, and publicly we won't even give access. So the community is basically the supporting environment with a lot of professionals, where we're gonna be constantly working very hard to make it alive and relevant for people, and at the same time making sure that you get always things that are needed for you as a professional building your business. Yeah, so that's I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and that's kind of the in a nutshell what we are building. I don't know if anyone has questions or comments. I'm happy to answer. I don't know if people can actually. It's the first time I'm doing a live stream, so I don't know if people can speak, but maybe they can. You can chat if that's easier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just enabled the Q&A. I don't know. I think the way it works is that people cannot speak. Their mic is muted because this being a live stream, but you can text directly. There's a commenting, a chat feature and a Q&A feature. So for any questions, people can drop their comments and we can. I'm happy to answer it. Yes, and maybe a last thing to say before I forget. So you do the 6 months training, 6 weeks program, and after that you get access to this community I just showed you earlier. So that one will be, you will have 6 months access to the community. So from the day you, so this is included in the program as well. So for 6 months there's gonna be full access to everything, and if you want to continue being part of the community, we're gonna charge a nominal fee. I don't know, something like, we don't actually, we haven't thought about the pricing yet, but it's gonna be something like any product subscription. I don't know, between 15 to $30 a month or something like that, if you want to continue being part. I'm actually part of a coaching community, so it's a coaching program that finished, and they have a community platform, a very close community platform. We are currently almost 700 members on it, and it's every week there's new value being delivered. People are sharing their experiences, people are asking questions, but people are supporting each other. So I'm actually paying on a monthly basis to continue being part of this private community, just because there's so much value in it. So yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing, and unless people have questions, I guess we can stop this live stream basically. Yeah. Cool. I think if that's good with everyone, we have 10 minutes to go, but since there are no questions and there are not a lot of participants, I would say we could end here. And we are always one last thing. Let me just put in, yes, this I wanted to share. So the guide I've been talking about before I run off into the wild or something. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. So the productized designer, and here's a guide that you can start reading. It's completely free of charge, so you don't need to register, you don't need to download, you don't need to pay for anything. So this is for free for everyone out there. We also have a book, but that's more very US specific to the domain, and that's also free of charge. And if you're interested, you can get on to a weekly newsletter where we actually break down a productized service each Sunday and explain why they work and what they are doing good, and so on. Yeah, so thank you for joining. It was great having you here, and there will be, as I said, probably another live stream in 2 weeks from now. And if you're interested, we do have a free version of this community where we already have some. Let me actually show you that before ending. So we have a free version of our community on the platform. It's here. And if you're interested, you can get access to that. So already there's some messages that we made freely available, some lessons that we made freely available to everyone on the platform. And we're going to be making, actually, we decided we're going to make a few more of these lessons freely available to people from our paid program as well, from discovery setup and scale, from the discovery setup and scale parts, and adding them here. So that's something for free you can do if you want to join the free community on Design for Freedom. And you will have some news and updates, like, for example, the productized designer guide that I just showed you earlier. This one here has been shared there. Then we have a general discussion, and we have also a library where we have resources that we will keep adding to this section, which you can download and use. And the whole point, everything we build, everything we make, the whole point is it should be relevant and helping you build your productized business. So, and then if you are ready and whenever you feel like it, then you can come and join our paid program, and we're gonna work closely with you to build that, to basically take it to the next level of your business. Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell. I hope you found some value in this live stream, and thank you for joining me today. It's Sunday, so we're in a very good weather, at least here. So I realize that not a lot of people are very motivated to be watching a live stream, but yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for joining. I see you in about 2 weeks if you decide to jump on a live stream. If not, do reach out to us on LinkedIn, to me or to Ellen, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. Thanks so much. Enjoy your rest of the Sunday, and speak soon. Bye.